First, I want to tell all you guys out there, if you watch for everything but hand histories, thanks a lot. That's what I want the channel to be. So many people out there though love hand histories. I'm going to experiment with them a little bit, at least for the near future. Once a week max, maybe like once every 2 weeks. But if you fast forward or don't even watch them, I totally understand. I like watching Trooper's videos. I don't really like the mail time. I don't even think he does them anymore. I don't even like Trooper Thursday, except for the end when he's in the parking lot talking to the camera. I fast forward through a ton of that, and I've told him that before. But I still like his channel, still watch his videos. So if you guys like the channel, I understand if you don't like hand histories. So this first triple barrel bluff starts with me overlimping Queen 9 of clubs on the button. First thing I'll say is that I do play differently based on what city I'm in. So, I don't know, maybe you play with me in Vegas and you didn't see a move like this, or Baltimore or something. A lot of what I do here doesn't happen in other cities. These are the most difficult, most aggressive, loosest, deepest pocket games I've ever played in my life, and it calls for strategies that don't happen in the tight games in Vegas and the much less aggressive games in Maryland and things like that. So I worked in this overlimp with the Queen 9 of clubs. Some tables, this lineup was such a table. You have to see like a flop with anything that can make the nuts. It's a lot like Planet Hollywood used to be. I remember once folding like King Jack at Planet Hollywood, and it hit me like I could hit Broadway. I know that's incredibly unlikely, but if I hit the nuts, someone will pay me off. So I started playing a lot more hands in Planet Hollywood than I did even in other poker rooms in Vegas because of the clientele. So out here mixing this Queen 9 of clubs, overlimp, saw a flop in position for cheap. We were deep all over the table. A lot of good reasons to get in there. So it's a pretty good flop. I flop one overcard and the flush draw, and better than that, everyone checked to me. So of course, that's why I see a flop like this. I need to take a stab, and the first limper, the under the gun limper, he checked, and then after I bet, he called my bet. Not too complicated yet, just everyone checked to me. So of course, got to throw out a bet with all my outs. Could win if everyone folds, and could definitely hit a card. I could even be ahead if someone calls, but probably not ahead if someone calls, but I could hit plenty of cards, and I have the betting lead. The turn was the most important street, so I don't improve, but now we're heads up. The player under the gun checks to me, I bet again, and he check calls again. So why did I choose to bet the turn unimproved? If I hit my card, whatever that is, queen, clubs, if I hit a card on the river, that's great, I win the hand. It's not very complicated though. You know, I'll bet a size I think can get called by worse. I really need to be concerned here on the turn about what I'm going to do if I miss on the river. So a pot is getting built. I'm not just gonna check back and surrender with queen high. If I miss on the river, I wanna bluff at this, and I want the bluff to work. I felt that if I check the turn, I'm not really repping anything when I stab the river to try to win without showdown. Because a jack here, which he's probably putting me on, would definitely bet the turn. Just why not? You're in position, you have a hand, especially how wet the board is. You gotta get value here and not get free cards. So to keep up the appearance that I could have something like a small set or a Jack X, I need to bet the turn so that my triple barrel bluff on the river, it all adds up, and I keep telling the same story. River is a brick, he checks, I bet 40, and he thinks for a couple seconds and he folds. I take it down without showdown. So now the situation happens where I don't hit on the river. I needed to be more concerned about this scenario than hitting the river, and I bet and I take it down. The important thing I felt on the river was the sizing, because actually 4 to a straight hit. So what am I repping? I thought if I blasted it, it wouldn't make a lot of sense, because he's probably not putting me on hitting the straight having that card in my hand doesn't make a ton of sense. It's probably the Jack X he's putting me on, like King Jack, Queen Jack, Jack 10, something like that. So I need to bet an amount that makes sense for like Queen Jack. I would still go for value because I probably wouldn't put him on that card either. So I could definitely go for value, but I can't overdo it. So I wanted to bet on the smaller side. I felt like 40 did that. I bet the 40. He kind of thought for like 2 seconds, gave me a look and folded. So I was really trying to fold out Ace X of clubs, King X of clubs, or if smaller clubs ended up hitting a pair on the turn or river. Those are the hands I'm trying to fold out. I felt like 40 accomplished it, and I don't know exactly what he had, but 40 got the job done, he folded. And yeah, like I said, the most important street by far was the turn, because the turn made the entire triple barrel story make sense. It gave me a hand I could represent, and on the river, I said on the river, the important thing was the sizing. I mean, that's not including the fact that I could bet at all because of what I did on the turn. What I did on the turn made it possible to even think about bluffing the river. If I don't bet the turn, bluffing the river doesn't make any sense.